Although he did tell you he lost. Did you notice that? That's the only
And
time
then-
he's ever said it.
and then-
Ever. You're famous. You're in history for that one.
Lost by
Yeah.
a whisker.
Yeah. I lost by a whisker.
I mean, there is a case to be made that he was joking. I don't
Yeah.
know. But there is a kind of weaving that he does with humor where sometimes it's sarcasm, sometimes not.
Mhm.
Much easier to showcase in a 3-hour interview, I'll say.
Good call. Go ahead.
I couldn't even like play with that when you have 40 minutes.
I know, bro.
You're like, I could do just 40 minutes on weaving alone.
For your style, it doesn't work. And I can tell you how the way I interview politicians is I just do pure policy. So the first time I interviewed Trump, I compiled a list of 15 subjects, me and my editor, Vince Collier, shout out to Vince. And the two of us sat in an office and then we had questions by priority in each category. And if we felt like we were running short on time, we would move around those different ones. But that was purely, he's the president. We're asking him for his opinions on an immigration bill or whatever. For what you do, it's impossible to do.
Yeah, I just want to say that thank you for everybody involved for making my conversation with Donald Trump possible. But I've learned a lot from that I just, if I'm told that all I have is 40 minutes, I'm very politely sparing, in that case, Donald Trump the 40 minutes and just walking away. Because I don't think I can do a good job.
I
in
think
40
that is the
minutes.
correct decision on your part.
Yeah.
And I also would encourage you to have the confidence at this point that you are in a position of something that we call in the business the ability to compel the interview. And by to compel means to be able to bring somebody else to you and not the other way around.
Yeah.
And I think that you and Rogan and a few others are in that very unique position. And I would really encourage you guys to stick to your guns on things that make you feel comfortable. Because, those of us in news, we will always negotiate. We're willing to do short form because we're asking about policy. But for the style that you helped popularize, and I think that you're uniquely talented and good at, that's very important not to compromise on. So
thank you for saying those words. And that's not just in the interest of journalism and the interest of conversation. It's the interest of the guest as well.
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
To bring out the best in them.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel really at a disservice. And I would feel like people would not get a unique understanding of like my own thought process and my backstory if I was not able to sit here for literally hours and to explain in deep detail like how I think about the world. Not that anyone cares that much, but it's just like I hope all I can do is I hope it's helpful. I want to help people think because when I was growing up not far from here, 90 minutes from here in College Station. I felt very uniquely closed off from the world. And I found the world through books. And books saved my life. So many different times. And I hope to encourage that in other people. I really, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how busy you are, you have some time to either sit down with a book or put on an audiobook, and you can transport yourself into a different world. It's so important. And that's something that your show really helps me with too. I love listening to your show sometimes when I'm too into politics and I need to listen to something, I'll listen to that Mayan historian guy. I love stuff like that. Absolutely.
I've been on a deep dive on Genghis Khan, reading Genghis Khan and then making him the modern world.
Yeah, Jack Weatherford.
Fantastic. Yeah, he's coming on.
Is he?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And again, shout out to Dan Carlin.
The GOAT, the OG. Dan, I've never met you before. I would love to correspond at some point. I love you so much. You changed my life, man.
I met him once before, and it felt... I
listened to your interview with him.
I was starstruck.
Yeah.
Very, very starstruck. And he's just so much Painful Tainment. I've listened to that many times.
I think his best series, one of his best series, it gets no credit for, Ghosts of the Ostfront. Nobody gives him credit for that one. That's OG. This is a 2011 series. But his Ghosts of the Ostfront on the Eastern Front of the Nazi war against Russia fundamentally changed my view of warfare forever. And also, at that time, I was very young. And to me, World War II was Saving Private Ryan. I wasn't as well read as I am now. And I was like, oh, shit, this entire thing happened, which actually decided the Second World War. And I don't know anything about this. So shout out to Dan. God bless you, man.
And his quote unquote short episodes, I think, on slavery in general throughout human history.
That was an awesome episode. I actually bought a bunch of Hugh Thomas books because of that episode. I'd never really read about African slavery or the slave trade outside of the Civil War context. So again, shout out to him for that one. That was an amazing episode. His Japan series too. I'm going to Japan in a few days.
Yeah. And
I keep thinking of what he always talked about in his Supernova in the East. The Japanese are like everyone else, but only more so. And God, I love that quote.
Okay, he's great. And I ironically arrived at this tangent while talking about the 2020 election.
Yeah, yeah. That's why podcasting is fun.
Because you said lost by a whisker.
Yeah.
And now we're dragging us screaming back to the topic. One of the things I was bothered by is Trump claiming that there's widespread, as you're saying, low IQ theory,
Yeah.
the widespread voter fraud. And I saw no evidence of that he provided.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, well, let's put that on the table. And then the other thing I was troubled by, that maybe you can comfort me in the context of history, how easily the base ate that up.
Yeah.
That they were able to believe the election was truly rigged based on no clear evidence that I saw. And they just love the story. And there is something compelling to the story that, like this DNC type, like with Bernie, the establishment they're corrupt and they steal the will of the people. And like the lack of desire from the base or from people to see any evidence of that was really troubled me.
Yeah, I'm going to give you one of the most depressing quotes, which is deeply true. Roger Ailes, who is a genius. Shout out to The Loudest Voice in the Room by Gabriel Sherman. That book changed my life too, because it really made me understand the media. People don't want to be informed. They want to feel informed. That is one of the most fundamental media insights of all time.
What a line.
Roger Ailes, a genius in his own right, who, he changed the world. He certainly did. He's the one who kind of gets credit for one of the greatest debate lines of all time, because he was an advisor to President Reagan. Whenever he broke in, he was like, "Mr. President, people want to know if you're too damn old for this job or not." And he inspired that joke that Reagan made, where he was like, I will not use age in this campaign. I will not hold my opponent's youth and inexperience against him. That was Ailes, man. He did the Nixon town halls. He did it all. He's a fucking genius. And I'm not advocating necessarily for the world he created for us, but he did it. And people should study him more. If you're interested in media in particular, that book is one of the most important books you'll ever read.
Yeah, you know what? That quote just really connected with me because, there's all this talk about truth. And I think what people want to, they want to feel like they're in possession of the truth.
Correct.
Not actually be in the possession of the truth.
Yeah, I know. It's it hit me too. Actually, Russell Crowe does an amazing job of delivering that line in the Showtime miniseries. So if you have the chance, you should watch it. And look, this is the problem. Liberals will be like, yeah, see these idiot Republicans. I'm like, yeah, you guys have bought a lot of crazy, stupid shit too, okay? And if actually, I would say liberal misinformation, quote unquote, is worse than Republican disinformation because it pervades the entire elite media, like Russiagate or Cambridge Analytica or any of these other hoaxes that have been foisted on the American people. The people who listen to The Daily and from the New York Times are just as brainwashed, lack of informed, want to feel informed as people who watch Fox News. So let me just say that out there. It's an equal opportunity cancer in the American people.